Warning! What you are about to hear contains explicit language, adult themes, and potentially disturbing content. The views and opinions expressed are those of the hosts and do not reflect the opinions of anyone else, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. This podcast is intended for an immature audience and should not be listened to by anyone, anywhere, ever, in the history of the world. You know, fuck it. You've been warned.
Ladies and gentlemen, dorks and dweebs, nerds of all ages, GeekPod Network Productions is proud to bring to you the most electrifying middle-aged guys in Syracuse, the Doctor, Hugh Allen, the Pod Whore, Paul Showens. Alone, they are single geek beacons in a dark cop drama world. But when the mics go hot, they are GeekPod. God bless me! Hello and welcome to this week's edition of GeekPod. I'm your host, Paul.
I'm Hugh.
And I'm Corbs.
Welcome back, guys. We're getting a bit of a record going here.
Yeah, it's nice to get in a groove.
Yes, that's what I said.
I already have a record, so does that count?
Wow, right. way to kill the mood.
Wah, wah, wah. All right.
Went from being very happy.
Yeah, but he's an adult now, so it doesn't count anymore, right?
Right.
That's true.
Oh.
It's been expunged now.
Sealed the record.
It did.
All right, boys. Since we're actually all drinking the same thing tonight, let's catch a buzz.
All right. So, Paul, what do we got here? You talk while I pour.
All right. Oh, by the way, Merry Christmas, guys. This is our Christmas episode, and in honor of that, we have the Great Lakes Brewing Company's Christmas Ale. Their little write-up says, "Do not open till Christmas? Whoever coined that phrase obviously hasn't tasted Christmas Ale's fresh honey, cinnamon, and ginger flavors. Brewed and bottled by Great Lakes Brewing Company, Cleveland, Ohio." And if you're following us on Twitter, most likely Laura already ruined that for us because apparently she cracked one like 2 hours ago.
Typical
Not
woman.
alcoholic.
Fucking Laura.
My head is way too high in this picture, isn't it?
Okay, that's a little creepy because the rest of you disappeared and it was just the head bobbing around. All right, so everyone has one open. There you go. Hugh's going first. Fantastic. What does it smell like?
Not a whole lot. Smells like an ale.
Yeah, that's probably because it is an ale.
It is a Christmas ale.
Look at that. And it's Christmas time.
I get the honey.
Okay.
It's very very carbonated. It's very light on the tongue. Mm-hmm. Got the ginger as well.
Yeah, I taste the ginger in it.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Getting the ginger.
This is probably my own prejudice, but I have a feeling if they applied the same flavor profile to a stout or something, it would be fantastic. As it is, it's an okay beer. This is something that, here's the thing. This is the kind of beer that you want to drink with friends while hanging outside, but you can't at Christmas because there's fucking snow on the ground. So it's light in a way, that you could continue, drinking it throughout the night without getting too stupid. It feels like a summer party beer.
Corbs, what do you think?
I kind of agree with that. I could see sitting around like the pool having a couple of these with buddies or whatever.
But you wouldn't because this is only out at Christmas. So
right. And I'm not going to stockpile for, probably about 8 months at this point if we want summer weather.
It's July. Let's crack some Christmas beers.
Right. Ho, 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 motherfucker.
I don't know. It is my prejudice. I mean, I think if you're saying like a Christmas beer or a holiday beer, it definitely has to have spices, but it also needs to be a darker, heavier, kind of warm you up in the cold weather type beer. That's what I'm looking for. Now, of course, I'm looking for that year round, but especially this time of year, I think it's important if you're going to put Christmas on the label.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
But this isn't bad. I mean, I can't say anything about it technically that's bad. It's good. I probably wouldn't buy it myself.
It's a good thing I did.
But I was gonna say if I was offered one, I would certainly drink it. Or if I went to a bar and nobody carries the beers I drink, so if I went to a bar, I would order this, to have a drink, with one of you two or something like that. So.
Well, that would just be a holy shit. They're carrying Christmas ale. Yeah, give me one of those.
Yeah, really.
Anything else to say about this beer?
It's definitely easy drinking. I would say.
Yes. I missed it on the bottom. It says an ale with spices and honey. There's not a lot of the write-ups that we normally do on the bottles and cans from these. So no. But I can definitely get down with it. And oddly enough, I have 10 more of them here.
Really?
Yeah.
12-pack?
Nope. I bought a 6-pack, and then somebody else left a full 6-pack of them here. So there's a 6-pack sitting in my garage as well.
Well, it's a good thing you like it then.
Yes. Yeah. I almost cracked one last night for Thursday Night Football, but I decided I didn't want to do that to you guys again.
Watch that game?
I'm wishing I didn't.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, what's up with you? What's up with your team?
All I've got to say is groin injury. I mean, that sums up our season.
Well, okay, okay. You lose your starting quarterback. I get that. I get that he goes down. You have to admit, Mariota didn't play bad.
Oh no, not at all. It's nice to see a scrambling quarterback too.
Right, that part of your team is going to be good. You offense, I don't think you got a problem.
No defense, and we're down what 4 or 5 guys on defense.
Yeah, you had four starters not playing, all hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Two guys with concussions, a guy with a shoulder injury, and a guy with I think a groin injury. I think that's what I saw yesterday afternoon when I was watching SportsCenter, which is what I do now. There's no sports sound, but that's the point.
That's just an hour of guys just looking at each other going, I got nothing.
Exactly. We got an hour of just us talking about sports.
Right.
So, but I watched that game. Your secondary, oh my God. I watched SportsCenter today, and they were talking to their NFL specialist, and he's just like, they don't cover anybody.
No, some of the gaps. Oh my God.
No offense, I watched this, I think I watched the second half of the game because I had date night with Kelly last night. So I got home.
Did Corbs get lucky?
That's besides the point.
Oh, I had to ask.
So when I got home, so I watched the second half, and and to be honest with you, after he threw the pick and the guy ran it back 50 yards to the 30, I'm thinking, I was thought to myself, this game is over with. Yep. I turned it, and I was like, I'll go on my phone real quick. I was watching Ridiculousness or something like that, so I put my phone at overtime. What the hell happened? So I went back, and the Raiders were going down. They were gonna score. They were going for a touchdown to win the game.
But
and I was like, oh, so watch. And then they're kicking the field goal. I'm like, oh, okay. And I turned it, came back, and he threw a 50-yard touchdown pass to the 2-yard line. I'm like, dude, how do you let that guy? No offense, it looked like them against the Jets.
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad.
Like, how do you let that guy get that deep on you? I mean, he was 5 yards past him when he threw it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, holy crap, dude. That kid, he's on the practice squad.
Right.
He's got to go to the practice squad now. I was like, holy cow.
Now, let me actually ask you guys something. I'm going to chime in on this little sports segment, believe it or not. Paul, it's okay. It's okay. I peruse Google News regularly. There's a sports section that I usually scroll by, but I've caught a lot of headlines about football games being awful. So I have to ask, are they playing? Is everybody playing their C teams or their B teams or something since COVID is on and they don't have live? I just hear a lot of complaints about it. So I have the impression that the football season is kind of garbage this year.
It's weird this season. Yeah, I mean, because you do have some guys that said they refuse to play. Yep. And then you get every week, you get a handful of people who tested positive, so they're not playing. And then it's just really fucking weird that they're playing to an empty stadium where they're piping in crowd noise.
Yeah.
Now, are they piping it into just the TV or the players too?
But no, they're into the stadium.
Okay, I was going to say, because I wasn't sure, but
Yeah, it's in the stadium. They're probably and but then you go with some places don't let fans in, and then some places are letting fans in. You know,
In a
some places
minimal capacity, yes.
minimal capacity, like 2,500 people get to come into the.
Those are the ones that it's kind of funny to watch because they'll pan around and then all of a sudden you'll just see like a pocket of like 7 people in the middle. It's like what?
Exactly. It's like the weirdest thing ever. You know, but I got to admit, the best part about it is you can hear everything on the field now.
That is
really?
cool. Like
Yeah,
you can hear the audibles being called
yeah,
and
yeah.
the weird shit that the quarterback yells out beforehand.
Hear any farts yet? Because, there's got to be a lot of them in that position.
Right.
I mean, come on. I've been down to get something off the bottom shelf of the refrigerator. My wife's like, Jesus Christ, that was disgusting. I'm like, I was trying to hold it. But grabbing my charging cord that's on the floor before I go to bed, oh, forget about it.
Do you know how many times I did that when I would snap the ball? And
Your quarterback hated you, didn't he?
Oh no, he loved me because he thought it was hilarious. Because the other team would be like, "Oh my god!" It's just like, sorry guys, I'm old. Like in 20 years, you'll be me. You know what I mean?
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's why I'm the heartthrob on this show right there.
Thanks. Man, that's good. I like that.
It was something.
Definitely something.
Okay. So guys, what's got you geeked?
On that weird note.
Well, okay, I'll go first. So an interesting thing happened to me today. So my wife is making cookies. She's going to make these cranberry bars, which are delicious. It's like this fluffy, I don't even know. It's kind of like a cake or a cookie, and there's cranberry between it, and then there's more on top of the crumbly thing, and it's just delicious. She discovered it last year. And she's trying to find the right size baking pan. Yes, this is what has me geeked. And we have a couple Pyrex baking dishes. They're glass. There's a smaller one and a bigger one. And she grabs one, and I'm like, honey, that's too small. Yeah, and she's like, what? I'm like, well, what's that? I said it was too small because that's not going to make enough of them, and I won't be able to eat as many. So I'm like, get the bigger pan and make more. She's like, no, I need this. Okay, she looks at her recipe. I need 9 by 11. Then she looks at the pan. She goes, oh, this is only 7 by 9. I'm like, how do you know? She's like, look. And she points at it, and at the bottom, there's a stamp in glass on it, and it says 7 by 9. And I go, what the fuck? And I pull the bigger one out of the cupboard, and I look, and it says 9 by 11. I'm like, son of a bitch, do you know how many times I have pulled the tape measure out of the drawer to my right to measure the pan to make sure it was the right size? And I'm supposed to be the smart one. I had never noticed. I see the stamp. This is Pyrex. I figure it's Pyrex. Rights reserved. Don't copy our shit or we'll sue you. I had no idea that the size was stamped there.
I actually knew that. Like, I'm shocked that you didn't, being like the foodie that you are.
I don't know if it's because I don't bake. Maybe that's something bakers know, but
maybe
I had no idea.
Because you're not going to find that in your saucepans.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, right before this happened, I had walked into the kitchen and I said, honey, I'm putting together my show notes. What's got me geeked? What am I excited about? Have I talked about anything this week that I'm excited about? And she's like, I don't know. I can't think of anything. I'm like, oh. And then she starts rummaging through the cupboard. At the end of this, I'm like, I have my geeked. That's perfect. Now, if anybody thinks that that's ridiculous, then I'm excited that they stamp the sizes on those pans. That was a joke. I mean, it happened. It was true, but I wrote that down as kind of a joke. What really has me excited is my copy of Assassin's Creed Valhalla is finally working again.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice.
And while customer support continues telling me, because I've been emailing them, they keep saying, "Oh, we'll let you know when there's movement on this situation." And my responses have gotten colorful, to say the least.
Perfect.
Because I'm like, why aren't you answering me? We're sorry. There's no news on this. We'll let you know. I'm like, that's not acceptable. I paid $60 for this game, blah, blah, blah. They didn't update this week. I checked the notes for the update. Nothing about the save problem in the notes. But the day it came out, I fired it up and it worked. So I am really happy. Now, the worst part about it is that I had gone back to playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I think I might have mentioned this last week because I'd never played the DLC. So I had finally gotten back into that because it's a little different. The mechanics are a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
I was totally into it, looking forward to playing it every night. I wasn't even thinking about Valhalla anymore. I was excited about Origins, and now it's working again. So
Naturally.
it took so long. I almost wish they'd waited another month to fix it. But
Well,
that's.
You don't have to start up with it.
I'm already back to it. I mean,
so.
it's new stuff. It's exciting. It's Vikings. Come on.
Well, that's my thing. We've actually started watching the show Vikings, so that made me want this game as well.
Oh,
so is it totally worth it?
It is still a little. It's buggy. I mean, a year from now it'll be perfect, but it's more than playable. It's not like Cyberpunk buggy. Definitely pick it up before you start playing. Let's have a chat because there are some strategies that you can. And I'm not talking complicated. Press this button, do that. Just doing certain things in a certain order that will make your life a lot easier. Things that I looked up before I started playing, like I saw, like one of the big ones is you start off in Norway and fairly quickly you can sail to England and start the real story. You don't start. Yeah, the title screen doesn't even come up until you get to England.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and that's normal. Assassin's Creed games, at least the past 3, have had a big section of gameplay, and then you get the title. And so it doesn't even really start until that point. What I read is that, they said, hey, listen, don't leave Norway. Like the reviewer that I read before it came out spent about 12 hours just exploring Norway. And I guess you can go back there, but they spent that time uncovering everything. So by the time they got to England, they were actually not struggling with their power level because your power level, as you move through the game, the enemies get harder. It's kind of like a big boost.
Nice.
So, I'm at the point now where fights are challenging, but I'm not throwing my controller in rage. The only time I get angry is when a quest gets weird or bugged or something. And so far I've been able to fix it. There was one just last night where they did actually, this is interesting. They're doing seasons for this game, and this isn't even paid content. This is just free. Season 1 is the Yule Festival. So they had some wacky pagans show up and set up camp outside of your camp, and they're throwing all these Christmas celebrations. It's a Yule Festival, and one of the things you had to go retrieve a big barrel of wine that was stolen by bandits. And so I kill the bandits. I get the barrel of wine. I'm heading to the guy who's got a boat waiting for me to get it back, and then some other bandits who are, because as you gain repute, there are bandits that are like trying to kill you. They jump out of the bushes right before I get there. You killed my brother. So I set down the barrel, I kick their ass, and then the barrel's gone. I'm like, fuck. So, but I go back to the where I got it from. I'm like, oh, good, it respawned there. So I grab it. This time I take a different route now that I know where I'm supposed to go. So I go through this enemy camp. I'm going through these puddles of water or like small pools. I'm walking, but then I suddenly walk into an area where it's deeper and I drop the barrel and start the swimming animation. Well, I go back, and every time I try to pick it up, I'm like right on the edge where it drops off. She leans down to pick it up and then starts swimming. So fuck, I can't pick it up again. Went back a third time, it was there again, and I was able to complete it. So if you're okay with dealing with bugs like that aren't really game breaking, I hear there are some game-breaking things that people have run into, but not everybody does. I'm sure that stuff will be fixed by the time you get to it. But
especially me. Yeah.
Yeah, especially you.
Because I probably won't even get that far into the game. We know how that works.
Yeah, but it's fantastic. The fighting, I still don't think it's as tight as Assassin's Creed Odyssey, control-wise. I still kind of feel like I'm all over the place, but in a sense that makes sense because in AC Odyssey you were this ripped but lithe. I don't want to say petite. Cassandra wasn't petite; she was muscular, but she wasn't a big hulking Viking. She was like your average UFC women's fighter. Okay, and she was a badass, very precise control. Now you get to Ivor. I'm playing the female version. Maybe you'll pick the guy, but of course she's bigger because she's a Viking. They're all built like men and stuff, and all this armor, and she moves heavier. The hits feel harder. They have weight to them, but an effect of that is sometimes I feel like once you start moving, you can't stop. Like you're a much bigger. It's like the difference between driving a motorcycle and then driving a school bus.
That's a
no, I shouldn't say that. No, it's more like a minivan and a school bus. It's not that big of a difference, but it's noticeable.
Gotcha.
But that was way off tangent.
Not really. We're talking about what had you geeked, and that's that game. And hey, yay content and disappearing beer.
Looks
like something different, doesn't it?
It does. It does. I'm also geeked about the fact we had our holiday party, and our CEO, along with telling us all the great things and profit and stuff that I don't think I can even share, so I'm not going to. But it was all positive. Also said, you know what? Don't work so hard. Don't work too much. If you've got time, take it. If you don't have time, take it off anyway. Enjoy the holidays. Just chill out.
That sounds like you work for a good company.
Yeah.
I wish I knew what the name of that company was. I don't know if there's anywhere on the screen
really.
right now that you can see that.
Probably not, but maybe.
Is this where I edited in a giant arrow pointing at your chest? Who are we kidding? I don't edit.
You know what? We were just he was just labeled one of the top, actually the top CEO in Austin. It was a list of top CEOs, and he was the only one picked in Austin, Texas, which of course is like the new Silicon Valley. So when the article was shared, nobody really realized this, but then someone else pointed out, hey, that means you're the top CEO in Austin. So
that's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad it's working out. It sounds like a really cool place.
But what's got one of you guys geeked? Let's move on.
Corbs.
Well, for me, obviously, not much because, nothing going on. But actually, for me, it's there's this golf tournament that's coming up this weekend. It's like a charity tournament.
What? This is brand new information. Sorry.
Such an ass. It's a tournament for the pros. They get to play with they get to pick who they want to play with, and it's by picking. I mean, there's a lot of them are playing with like family members. So Tiger Woods is playing with his son. A couple guys playing with like their father, father-in-laws, cousins and shit like that. So it's gonna be it's kind of a fun tournament. It's not really a tournament where they keep points and you go race for the FedEx Cup, which is their big prize at the end of the year. That's all over with. So it's just gonna be a fun tournament. It's like I said, you get to see these guys with their family playing. So it's like it's basically like you're playing golf on the weekend with your buddies, but if your buddy was a golfer. So that's it for me. But you guys you both mentioned about Vikings. That's this TV show that I was thinking about watching. Yeah,
really
you just started. Like, how far are you into it, Paul?
I think we're halfway into season 1 because we started it when nothing else was on TV, and then all the Walking Dead stuff came back. So, and we're borrowing it from our neighbors across the street. They suggested it and just literally dropped off the first 4 seasons to me and said, "Have at it." And I apologize.
It's on like Hulu or something like that.
History Channel is running new episodes, right?
Yeah. Well,
is it done?
It isn't done yet. The final season, I think they've aired the first half already. Yeah. They have to air the second half of the final season, but they are spinning it off. It is getting.
Really?
It's not a matter of being canceled. I think that they play loose with history, but I think they've taken the story as far as they can, and they need to move on to a different era. So it isn't really ending, but you're not going to see the same characters. I will tell you, both of you, since you're starting on this journey, I want to warn you, and this is, I don't remember, I want to say it's season 5. There is going to come a point where it begins to be a bit of a slog.
Okay.
Keep with it. The reason being is there are some cast changes, some characters go away, some characters move into new positions where maybe they aren't quite the person. There was a point in time where I hated everybody on that show because there was always, Vikings are, they're not the most, moral, but they do have a code. Okay. And it's like, there came the point where like everybody is doing shit that I can't even, that I don't want to say approve of because that's not the right word, but there was a point
you can't get behind it.
Yeah. I hated every single character. Like there were no heroes, but that passed. I don't want to say that was part of their plan. I think it just kind of happened, but it's worth going past that. But don't get disappointed when you get there and think that you want to stop watching the show because it's definitely worth continuing.
What it reminds me of, and this is going to perk your ears up, Corbs, is literally like a historical version of Sons of Anarchy.
That's excellent Excellent analogy.
And I'm not just saying that to get Corbs to start into the show, but yeah, like
Well,
I mean, even the main
figured
guy
something to give
Ragnar.
me. I figured something, to get me not to watch Supernatural.
I mean, no, you should not start the show right away.
Son of a bitch.
This is where you just see a fist come out of Corbs' the screen and just hit him one.
No, I'm just pouring another beer.
I gotta wait until the break to go up and get another one.
I actually grabbed myself my little picnic cooler, threw some ice packs in there. I am good. I don't have to go anywhere.
This is why he's the smart one.
It is. So that's it for me. Just the golf match that's coming up this weekend for me. So
I'm sure I can speak for Dr. Hugh on this one, but we're shocked it had something to do with sports.
I was shocked too.
Never would have guessed. Never.
Here's to you guys.
And just I'll cheers you, but I'm empty and disappearing. I might change my background next week. This is driving me crazy because all of our Geek Pod shirts are black, and every time I move, I start to disappear. So,
sometimes it's just like the head.
Right. I'm starting to feel like Back to the Future over here.
What did you do? Are you dating your mom?
Sorry. I mean, there's lines even I won't cross.
That's news to me. So.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. So what's got me geeked, and it's literally just happened 2 hours ago. The Mandalorian season 2 finale.
I haven't seen it yet.
Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil it because literally it's not even 24 hours old. I'm not even that much of a dick. But
yeah, you are.
No, I'm usually good about this. There was something else we used to talk about a show, and we would give like at least a week grace period.
That's true. You're right.
I don't remember what show it was now, but that's probably all the head trauma. But phenomenal. A lot of holy shit moments, a few in your feels moments. I just brought that up because of our off. Yes.
I hate that phrase, in your feels.
And let me write that down.
Fuck your feels.
I wish we could use that one too.
Oh. It's
phenomenal.
Okay to be emotional, but come on.
Right. It's just one of those stupid millennial buzzwords now. Kind of like totes my goats or whatever that was that slap in the face.
Well, there, huh?
On that note, I think we're going to move right into Hugh's news.
And that is an excellent segue because the first thing in the news is a bounty of bounty hunters. Apparently, a third spinoff of The Mandalorian seems to be in the works. A post-credit stinger at the end of the season 2 finale announced the Book of Boba Fett coming 12/21, confirming once and for all that Mandalorians can read and write. Now, I don't know anything about the episode, but I am pretty excited that they're going to do a Boba Fett spinoff. I think that he is... he was one of the most enigmatic characters from the original trilogy. Everybody wanted to know more about him. And I think they've handled the character very gracefully in this new series. I did want to ask you, Paul, your opinion on something, because there was something in the last episode that I wondered.
How far behind are you, Corbs, first of all?
How far? I think I've watched my son sitting behind me.
I thought he was talking to his shoulder. No, what's going on there?
I think
Stop shrugging.
4.
Okay.
Four or 5 maybe.
I will phrase this as carefully as I can. And while it would technically be a spoiler, it's not going to give too much away. When he is standing in front of that machine and he has to do the one thing he doesn't want to do, and he does it anyway, I want to ask you, because I don't know the background of Star Wars lore, the extended universe. Is this the kind of thing that probably had Andrew jumping up and down, swearing he'd never watched the show again? Or is because it was organically, he was put in a situation where organically he had no choice? Is it okay?
I think so, especially with information that we found out this season.
Okay.
The episode with Bo-Katan.
Okay, because I watched it and I was like, that's cool. That informs me about his feelings and how strongly he feels about certain things, but I wasn't sure if purists would be like, fuck that shit. I mean,
right. And I don't think they can be, because that whole idea of the not removing the helmet was introduced in this show. And we have an explanation this season.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yep. No, that was a thing. And I appreciate you coming to me on that one, because I'm a bit of a Mandalorian fan.
I kind of figured.
So yeah, that's, I think it has more to do with the fact of like, and you can see the symbolism in that episode too, where he's wearing the other armor,
yeah,
and you see it kind of breaking away and stuff. I think you're seeing his biases crumbling.
Okay, and I didn't know that was a concept that was only introduced now. I assumed it'd been around, and you know how toxic fandom can be right now.
Yes.
So even if it's the right choice for the story, sometimes they would rather have them make the wrong choice for the story, as long as it fits their own headcanon. So
right.
I didn't want to search that. That didn't occur to me until this week. But I didn't want to search it because I was worried about getting spoiled for.
Right. No, what I'm thinking is, and again, I'm going to try and say this as blandly as possible, that was more of realizing that he had no choice to get to the end point to get what he needed to do.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's very clear from the story. But thank you for explaining that to me. Moving on, toss a Viking into your Witcher. Production on Netflix, The Witcher, is proceeding without the star Henry Cavill because he reportedly sustained a minor muscle injury on an assault course. I don't know. They didn't really say what kind of course it was, just an assault course. What does that even mean? Apparently, he was at a height of 20 feet. He was in a harness, but something happened. Doesn't sound like it had anything to do with the filming of the show. I mean, I think they would have said, oh, he sustained an injury while, on the set of the show. It sounded like he was doing some, recreational stuff and messed up his leg. But apparently he is sidelined for just a few weeks. They're going to use the Christmas break and film scenes without him and shift it all around so that, things aren't too bad. And apparently immediately upon him getting hurt, Anya Chalotra pulled out her boobs for no reason at all. Moving on, and finally, Last Man Standing. And this one might have, you guys might have some strong feelings on this. I mean, I kind of don't, because I don't care. But if you're a Pixar fan, you might. Basically, they have recast Buzz Lightyear. Chris Evans is going to be playing Buzz Lightyear in a new Pixar movie. However, it's not really Buzz Lightyear. Now, fans have gotten crazy. They're like, going, oh, Tim Allen's the voice of Buzz Lightyear. No, it's wrong. Don't change it. I'm like, wow, Tim Allen was the voice of Buzz Lightyear? I had no idea. But apparently a lot of people are mad. But it isn't really Buzz Lightyear. Apparently they are doing a movie based on the human astronaut that the Buzz Lightyear toy is based on.
Oh,
so
okay.
he's not actually the same person. Now, people have brought up some interesting things like, okay, well, if you make a toy based on me, why would they sound like someone other than me? I suppose that's a good point. If we were going to make a Buzz Aldrin toy, we wouldn't make him sound like Gilbert Gottfried. I mean, it makes sense. But, we don't know the details of this. They might have reached out to Tim Allen. He might have said, no, you know what? Last Man Standing is making me so much money that, I don't need to do this. Who knows? He might have turned it down. But I think it's unfair to, come at Chris Evans because of this casting. He wasn't involved in that. They offered him a part, and he took it. And he is excited to be part of the Pixar family. What do you guys think about that?
I'm okay with it, because I see it as, especially when we were kids growing up and there were toys that had the whole pull string and it has a voice. They didn't always sound like the characters they're supposed to sound like.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what? We were lucky if the same person voiced a character from season to season of a TV show.
Very true.
I mean, that stuff changed all the time. I never noticed it when I was a kid, but now I try to go back and watch that stuff as an adult, and I'm like, holy shit. It's like jarring. I'm like shaking like
different.
Lewis Black when they talk. I'm like, what the fuck? It's awful. I hate it. But that's the news, kids. Now I have to go balance the $6.66 the government apparently thinks it costs per day to live a basic standard of living in this country for the past 9 months. Paul?
I love his outros for the news. All right, guys. You know what? I think that's going to roll us into our first break. Stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to go into Corb's classic movie review.
Sweet.
The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest returns in 2021 with an all-new location. This family-friendly event will have new celebrity guests, new activities and attractions, as well as a diverse selection of vendors, ranging from horror and sci-fi merchandise, artists and authors, tattoo artists, podcasts, as well as unique vendors like breweries and wineries. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 27th and 28th at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Guest announcements will begin after the new year. For all up-to-date information, including tickets, vendor space, and sponsorship packages, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Please note, dates of event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19.
And we are back. And before we move into Corb's movie review, I just wanted to say something about my little sign off for the news there. So that number, $6.66, was not arbitrary. I actually took the original stimulus we got, along with what they're saying we're going to get potentially in this new package that they're trying to pass, and divided it by, I took 9 months, 30 days, divided it all up, came up with $6.66. Now, what I want to say is not about how ridiculously inadequate that is. What I want, because, we've been good. We've worked through this whole thing, so, we don't have complaints. But there are people that are not this lucky. The interesting part of this is 4 times now. Paul, you were going.
Keep going. Said people have not been so lucky, and I poured down at Corbs.
See, I didn't want to do that, man. I didn't want to be that much of a dick. 4 times in the recent past, I'm talking like in the past month, 4 times, I have divided things and came up with 666. Okay? Now, we all know that's the number of the devil. Yeah, devil horns. But I'm talking like, without giving away too many details, a customer at work says, I want to sign a contract for this much or whatever. 4 times I have come up with that number in the past month by doing a random division thing, figuring out, in 4 completely different situations. And it's all come up like, 666 or 6. One of them was 6.66666. It just went on forever. I was like, holy crap. Dude, I'm a little worried. I mean, I'm not religious, but that's got me kind of creeped out.
I mean, they are saying that's got the chip in the vaccine that's supposed to be the mark of the beast, right? So
I think I'm the mark of the beast. I don't know what's going on. That's just weird. But anyway, Corbs, please go on with your movie review. I'm sorry for stealing the spotlight there.
Talking about the devil and all that stuff. I mean, when do we go religious?
Yeah, you're looking at the wrong podcast if you're looking for religion, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That could be funny if we did a religious podcast.
I read an interesting thing about religion just last night while I was sitting on the toilet. It said, churches ask for your money to fix their problems and then tell you to pray to God to fix yours. I don't know. That sounds kind of funky to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's... Now that you think about it, right? They're asking for donations to fix what they got going on, but God's supposed to help you.
Yeah, but there's the thing is that those folks, the church-going folks, that they don't do their own thinking. They do it all out of that archaic book. Just saying.
What are you saying?
That Animal Farm?
They don't think for them. Well, I mean, that's a better book. Probably just about as factual. I'm saying those religious folk, and I'm probably going to offend a bunch of my own friends here, some former hosts.
Yeah, but no offense, if they're your friends, it shouldn't bother them.
Especially knowing me, right? I mean,
exactly.
Well, a lot of people misthink that atheists want to change everybody. And my thinking on this world is, what? Nobody has ever knocked on my door and said, "Hey, can we tell you about not God?" Okay, I have no interest in converting people, but I mean, just as recently as last year at a party, my wife and I got accosted by a minister of a local church.
I remember the story.
Died a month later.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but he was like adamant. I'm like, listen, I don't want to discuss this. We're at our neighbors are moving. We're at a party to celebrate our friendship with them. I don't want to discuss this, and he wouldn't stop. His wife tried to get him to stop, and he wouldn't stop. I don't care what you believe. I care that you try to push it on other people.
Yep. Agreed.
And we should all be able to believe what we want and still respect each other. And that's what pisses me off.
Yep, I agree. Don't be pushing your shit on other people unless you're pushing this podcast on other people. Then you should listen.
Yeah.
Listen to them. That's our new promo right there. I'm isolating that, and that's it.
Make sure whatever she is, social media lady, pushes that.
You know, the funny part of that whole thing was that our neighbors, who we're good friends with, were very religious. We are atheists. It never came up, ever, once, until that party. And they weren't even part of the conversation.
Right.
They were off doing this. We didn't get to spend time with them because the preacher of their church was being an asshole.
Yeah, you were cornered by them instead. Yeah.
It boggles the mind.
Yeah. That's why I'm converting to Mandalorianism.
Well, you could convert to Hueism because I am an ordained reverend.
Really?
Yes.
Why have you not brought this up before?
Yeah, seriously. Why did this never come up before?
Because like 15 years ago, I went to the Universal Church of Life website, put my name in, and they're like really cool. They'll ordain anybody. So yeah, I can legally perform marriages in New York State.
We can totally steal Kevin Smith's shtick again, and you can marry people.
I did it just for the hell of it. You know, legally, I can have on my driver's license the Reverend Elwin Hugh Allen Jr.
Please do, because you'll no longer be Dr. Hugh.
I do. Don't get Reverend Hugh going. I already said years ago. I said, the best way to make money is to start a religion, and I would be so good at that. I even have the look now.
We need to talk off mic. Because if there's one thing I've always aspired to be, and it's a cult leader. So.
Well, you can't do one of those stupid things like Nixon because you don't want to end up getting like arrested and thrown in jail. You got to be smart about it. Your end game can't be let's all drink the Kool-Aid.
Right. So I was gonna say, just whatever you do, just don't be Jim Jones.
Yeah.
No.
You have to. Okay, you're going to abuse your power. Of course you are. But
of course I am. Yes.
Of course you are.
You have to rein it in enough that it's not a prosecutable offense.
Agreed. And that's what I have you for.
and here's the biggest thing. Make sure you're actually offering people something that has meaning to them, even if it's all the church offers is platitudes and sayings and things like that. I have a feeling that if I ever did that, there would be a lot of self-help stuff that would actually help people get their shit together. Because my goal would be to help people. It wouldn't be just to make money. I look at the church like hey, we're going to make a bunch of money by saying, hey, listen to Grimm's Fairy Tales, because that's a book that has about as much factual information as the Bible. But if you're going to do that, actually change some lives for the better. I think you could actually be a cult leader, change lives for the better, and make a ton of money. I think it's possible.
Where do I sign?
We'll talk about that on mic.
Right.
That'd be a first. It would definitely be a first.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to abuse people. I'm a happily married man, so I'm not going to. If anybody fucks things up, it's going to be Paul.
We have a track record for that. It's pretty bad when we're at a beer fest and Hugh has to take me aside and says, "Don't fuck this up for me."
Here's the big question: did you fuck it up for him?
No, I was well behaved. They love us there, and then the fucking Armageddon happens and we don't get to go back. So I should reach out to her too. Just, hey, how's it going? Yes. Because we met some really cool people.
Yeah, usually this time of year you'd be inviting us to your show. It's not happening, but we wanted to see how you were doing.
I like it. We'll have to do that. So 10 minutes later.
Corbs, what did you watch this week?
Well, so last week, obviously, I talked about, Die Hard being a Christmas movie. It's my big shtick for every Christmas. This week, I actually watched an actual Christmas movie. Now, it's a classic.
Say the Christmas movie.
Yes, it is a classic.
You watched Batman?
No, not yet.
Batman is the Christmas movie.
I watched National Lampoon's. He called me a fat man.
Fat man. Oh,
I talked about this last week.
I just didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
It's the new Christmas movie.
Yeah. I do want to watch that. I do want to watch Fat Man. I'd seen it on something. I think it was on like Prime or something. It was advertised on it or something. I saw it advertised somewhere, so I have to go in and take a look at it. I know you talked about it last week, and it does sound like actually a pretty cool movie. So, but the movie I watched this week is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I'm sure you guys have seen it. You can't
already this year.
I've already watched it like 3 times this year.
Do I
Introduced
pronounce
it to
his?
Madison.
Do I pronounce his name Chevy or Chevy?
See, this is where I need to edit in crickets.
I've always wondered.
To me, it's always been Chevy Chase.
It's always been Chevy Chase. Yep. I was about to say the same thing. It's always
I don't know
been
if I'm
Chevy
correct.
Chase.
That's because
Right.
the human mind craves alliteration. That may not be correct. We should look it up. Look it up.
So, I mean, obviously, classic Christmas movie. Classic movie. Movie. I mean, it spawned what? Started out with Vacation. We had Vacation, European Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Vegas Vacation, and then the remake of Vacation.
Not really a remake. It was
no, you're right.
reboot.
It's like reboot, yeah. It's like,
but it's a continuation
Rusty.
still. Yes.
It's Rusty and his family now.
Played by like the 4th Rusty at that point.
5th. Because if you've ever noticed, I don't know how many of you guys have seen all 4 of the Christmas National Lampoon's Vacation movies. The son and daughter are different in every single.
Are they in everyone?
Everyone.
The specific one we had Johnny Galecki as Rusty.
Yep. Yep. That's where his shtick started. He started there with that. I mean, obviously he's probably had stuff before that, but you've had Anthony Michael Hall's been there, Johnny Galecki's been there. You had Juliette Lewis. Can't remember. There was another. Johnny from Karate Kid is in the second one. Don't know if you noticed that he's the boyfriend.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying he's a Rusty. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, it wasn't Rusty. So, I mean, Christmas Vacation, classic movie. Chevy Chase, pratfalling, the house lit up with 10,000 twinkling lights or whatever it is.
It didn't twinkle.
It didn't twinkle at him going batshit crazy. Juliette Lewis-Dreyfus is the next door neighbor in that one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's a classic. I watch it every year. Can't say enough good things about the movie. So that to me, when it's on, and I'll watch that movie if it's on in the middle of the summertime. I'll watch it then too. It's a classic movie. It's funny no matter any time of year you watch it. It's just funny. I think Chevy Chase is hysterical. So, and especially in those movies. I mean, I didn't never watch him in the Community. I don't know how good he was in that, but I mean, I've heard he's very good in all of that stuff. So, but for me, Christmas Vacation, hands down, is the one Christmas movie that I can watch any time of the year. I mean, Die Hard is I consider it a Christmas movie. I know people don't think of it that way. You can watch that any time of the year. But this is a Christmas movie. It's got Christmas in the name.
Yeah, the whole plot revolves around Christmas.
Around Christmas. And it revolves about family Christmas. It's got family values in it. I mean, his parents come, her parents come. You got freaking the hell's his name? I can't remember his name now.
Hold on, it's in mine here.
Randy
Dennis
Travis.
Quaid.
No, it's
Uncle
Randy.
Lewis and Aunt Bethany.
Nope. Oh god, I can't remember his name now.
Oh,
Isn't there a Quaid in that movie?
Yes, Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid. He's in all of them. They go and see him in the first one.
Yep.
Catherine.
Cousin Eddie.
Cousin Eddie. That's his name.
Shitter's full.
Shitter's full.
Okay, hold on. I got to stop you right there.
Okay.
Because we're talking about this and it just hit me. Build-A-Bear Workshop. This year released for Christmas a Clark Griswold bear and a Cousin Eddie bear that comes with a hose.
Really?
Again, tongue in cheek, shit you not. And I will steal those pictures and I will put them up on our Facebook page.
Oh, that's classic.
Yes.
That is great. And
one more beer, I may order them tonight. Just saying.
I've seen on Facebook, can't trust anybody that hasn't quoted Christmas Vacation at least 10 times during the Christmas year. And they're not wrong. I mean, I find myself.
Merry.
No shit, that's my name.
I'm sorry, but you don't have the same tits she does.
Or the legs, the ass. I mean, everything.
I mean, I don't know. I've seen the ass. That's not bad. I gotta give you.
All right. Well, thank you.
I've not seen any of this shit.
Just
I'll
wait
be
till
over
August.
Wait till August.
Wait till the con.
So for me, Christmas Vacation, hands down, best Christmas movie out there.
It ranks up there with one of the other ones I watch yearly, but we'll discuss that later. But as per what we discussed for this segment, I went back in the Wayback Machine and found Roger Ebert's review of this from December 1st of 1989. Buckle up, boys. It's a 2-pager.
It's a 2-pager.
He says, in the course of the 3 National Lampoon Vacation movies, Clark Griswold has become an emblem for all that is sweetest and most ineffectual in the Hollywood husband. What he wishes for his family most desperately is that they have a good time. That's fair. All he is able to deliver is chaos and hair-raising misadventures. His wife is at least loving and grateful, but his 2 children are thoroughly weary of his schemes and have lost all faith in his ability to deliver on his promises. That kind of sounds like how my children view me. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the 3rd in the series, brings a small change on the formula. Instead of the Griswolds going on vacation, their relatives take vacations to visit them. By Christmas Eve, the Griswolds' household is vibrating with the pent-up anxieties and resentment of 2 sets of in-laws. That sounds like the premise of a different kind of movie. I'm just saying. A thoroughly wacko uncle and aunt, and a hillbilly cousin who seems to have traveled in his camper directly from Dogpatch. None of these people are particularly good examples of the Christmas spirit, and the Griswold children have grown sullen and ill-tempered, especially when Clark tries to enlist them in such projects as decorating the home with 125,000 light bulbs. Everything that can possibly go wrong will, of course, go wrong, and that includes Griswold locking himself in the attic, falling off the roof, and being assaulted by the hillbilly cousin's ravenous hound. There are long stretches in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when this almost works. The movie is curious in how close it comes to delivering on its material. Sequence after sequence seems to contain all the necessary material to be well on the way toward a payoff, and then it somehow doesn't work. I disagree. Chevy Chase, playing Clark Griswold once again, is lovable and dogged in his determination to provide an ideal Christmas for his family. Beverly D'Angelo, that sunny and underrated screen comedian, is a loving wife, and Randy Quaid does what he can with the thankless role of Cousin Eddie, whose secret is that he and the family are actually living in that crappy old motorhome, a shack on wheels, and don't have a dime to spend on Christmas. All of these actors do what they can, but the rhythm and pacing of the movie doesn't help them much. I was disappointed, too, in how little was done with 2 sets of in-laws and the weirdo uncle and aunt. Maybe because they are simply too many characters for the movie. The in-laws are handled almost as a tour group to be shunted around in the backgrounds of shot after shot or lined up as a quartet to react to Clark's dilemmas. The in-laws are supposed to hate each other, but not much is done with this, and indeed, they hardly emerge as individuals. See, I disagree with that because that's how in-laws really act. Like, whether or not they really despise each other, like, you're not going to outright be a complete douche to each other, in your family.
Yeah, right. In holiday functions, no, you're not going to just be outright yelling and screaming at each other. You're going to be cordial and.
Yeah, I thought it was portrayed well.
Is that how it works? I've never had traditional in-laws in either marriage, so I have no idea how that works.
No, that's not how it's supposed to work. At least, let's put it that way. I'll continue. That's not the case with the peculiar old Uncle Lewis, played by William Hickey, and Aunt Bethany, played by Mae Questel, who are gothic characters. Hickey, best remembered as the mafia godfather in Prizzi's Honor, has fun acting both benignly and malevolently peculiar. And Questel, Woody Allen's mother in New York Stories, is his match in every way. And yet, the parts don't fit. Maybe the movie's problem is with the director, Jeremiah S. Chechik, a first-timer at feature length, although he has won awards for his TV commercials. The screenplay was written by John Hughes, whose Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a masterful comedy about two travelers trying to find their way home for Thanksgiving. But with the Griswold saga, he seems to set up sequences that Chechik isn't able to pay off. You have the odd sensation, watching the movie that it's straining to get off the ground, but simply doesn't have the juice. I disagree wholeheartedly with that review. Like you said, it is a Christmas classic, and I don't know if it's one of those hindsight things. Like, I don't know if when it came out in '89, if that's really how everybody felt, and it just became a cult classic. But I remember from the time I saw it as a kid that I thought it was one of the most hilarious things I ever saw.
Oh yeah,
love that.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I saw the movie once years ago. I'm sorry, I don't have an opinion.
Really?
I don't like comedies. I couldn't tell you what's wrong with it. I don't. There are rare occasions I like comedies, but in general, I don't like comedy movies.
Wait, so how do you feel about Kevin Smith movies?
To me, most of them are characters that I've kind of grown up with, and yes, I laugh during them, but I don't see them as comedies. They're more like hanging out with good friends I've known for a really long time.
Okay, I like that. Corbs, have we ever had that discussion? I know I'm totally derailing the. First, let's finish with Christmas Vacation. What do you give Christmas Vacation, Corbs?
Oh,
out of 5-star, how are we going to do
I
this?
give it 5. I give it 5. I give it 5.
I agree. Love that movie. I was happy to introduce it to my children. Madison is all about this fucking movie. She was mad that I sent her to bed before the movie was over. Even though there's some questionable shit in there that happens, and I cringe, and I'm like, oh shit, Madison shouldn't be watching this. But
like there's a season 2 be married?
Oh yeah, that was one of them when I was kind of sitting there just side eyeing her. I'm like, here we go.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's at the beginning of the movie when they're in the department store, and he's talking to the lady that works behind the counter, and she's an absolutely gorgeous brunette with tits just hanging out all over.
Yeah,
and he's trying to be the smooth divorced guy. He says first he makes it sound like she's his wife's dead, and then he switches it around to saying that they're divorced. And I think she was modeling underwear for him, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
So he's a potential cheater then.
Yeah.
Didn't Ebert say he was like a wholesome family man?
I mean, maybe.
So wholesome family
said he's
man.
ineffectual. Does that count?
No.
But yeah, I give it 5. I give it 5 stars.
Same here. Love that movie. Probably my second favorite Christmas movie ever. So
all right, I gotta ask. What's the first?
A Christmas Story.
You shoot your eye out?
Yes. I literally on Christmas Day, I put that on TBS, and they do a 24-hour marathon. So that movie just plays all day long.
Christmas Eve.
It starts on Christmas Eve and it plays through.
Yep.
Yeah, and it stays on to the dismay of my entire family. I'm the only one that wants it. It's me and my brother-in-law. We're the two that absolutely love this movie.
I got forced to watch that in school once. I've never watched it again.
Forced? I'm sorry.
Forced. Yeah,
I love that movie. I think it's hilarious. I've always wanted to track down the sequel. They made a sequel to it years later. I've never gotten to get there.
Did you found it?
Hugh?
Have you ever found it, Paul?
No. But I haven't tried that hard.
Have you asked me?
No.
Seriously?
No. My pirate friend, no. Can we get you an eye patch? Just saying.
I can find anything.
I believe that.
And you know what? I believe that, especially if it's something that is impossible to find, because I think you should support people. You should support artists and producers in movie studios. But if there's something that is not available, that's not your fault, and you should not be persecuted punished for finding a way to find it. I'm into a lot of Japanese horror and stuff like that. So, I mean, there are a lot of things that just don't get released. I can't buy it. It's not possible. So,
the Christmas the Star Wars Holiday Special.
You want it?
I have it. Actually, it was released. I ended up tracking it down last year, and it was gifted to me for Christmas last year. My children refused to watch it because I told them how bad it is. It's like the one Star Wars thing. I suggested it literally a week ago, and Madison was like, no.
No.
The Corbs, do you have a favorite Christmas movie other than Die Hard?
Right. And don't give us the Star Wars bullshit again.
He may not. I'm just asking because he asked you. So.
My Christmas movie, my go-to Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life.
Classic.
I like watching it. For some reason, that movie I like it. You know, it's funny. It's got some drama. It's got a whole bunch of stuff in it. So I like it.
I am so different than the two of you. So different.
I'm not sure I want to ask this question.
My favorite Christmas movie is it's only a few years old now, but it's called A Christmas Horror Story, and basically, it's a series of vignettes, a series of Christmas stories, all framed by William Shatner as a DJ who is DJing over Christmas night at a radio station, and people are calling in, and that's how the stories start. But it's got a zombie apocalypse infecting the elves and Santa Claus going badass motherfucker, ripping the fucking arms off his Santa Claus suit and kicking fucking ass and taking on Krampus at the end. I mean, the other stories are great, but that's just, oh my God. It's amazing.
I love it. I need to see that.
It's currently streaming on Shudder, I think, and maybe
nice.
Netflix. But yeah, it's just such a great movie.
How great would it be when the world goes back to normal if we can con somebody that owns a theater into letting us do a Christmas movie marathon, and we throw all of our favorites in there, and just somewhere in the middle we throw that one of Hughes in, too much to like the dismay of the audience.
No, I think they love it because you know what? It has Christmas spirit. It has a message. It's just delivered in a way that I prefer.
I like that. And didn't Kevin Smith bringing it back around to Kevin Smith, because we all know that I'm all about his nuts.
Get off his nuts. I mean, seriously.
It's been what? How many years now? It's not going to happen.
That's true.
He
write like a short film about Krampus?
I don't know. You would know that. I don't know that. I mean, I like the Kevin Smith films, but you suck his dick. So, I mean, I have no idea.
I almost did the night I met him. I'm just saying.
I know. You told me.
I would have if I had more than 5 minutes.
And he's like, wow, it only would have taken 2.
Right.
That would totally be his response.
Back off, son. Just so let's circle back on that before we get into the other Christmas craziness. Kevin Smith movies we started to discuss. So it sounds like Hughes, like me, you're well versed in them. Like you said, it feels like hanging out with old friends.
Yes.
Where do you and all the years we've been friends, Corbs, I can't believe this has never come up, or at least never come up when I've been sober enough to remember having the discussion. Where do you fall on Kevin Smith movies?
I like them. I mean, I watch them. I've seen Mallrats. I've seen most of his movies. I wouldn't say I've seen them all. So I don't turn them off.
All is tough because he's made some weird shit in the last couple of years.
Okay, I've watched the weird stuff. I mean, I've watched like Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Clerks 2. I think, is that the other one? Dogma.
Love Dogma. I just found a copy of Dogma in a Goodwill the other a couple weeks ago with Kristen. We were out, and I always peruse the movies when I'm there. And I've got this weird thing that if I see Kevin Smith movies when I'm there, I rescue them. So I have a second copy of Dogma right now that I got for $1.99.
There's something wrong with you.
Dude,
yeah,
seriously.
Especially
really
with it being Dogma, though, because that's a very rare find. Like, you cannot find copies of Dogma.
I really think you
legally.
I honestly think you need to go to Kevin Smith. You need to go to Kevin Smith and really just hob on his knob.
I probably do. I'm just not gonna lie.
And then you'll be like, I'm over it, and burn all your copies of his movies, and you will be free for the first time in your life.
Just throw everything into the street afterwards. I'm done. Okay.
Walking down the street like this, shirtless.
No one wants that. But no, Corbs. If since you're into it sounds like the mainstream, more like the View Askew movies, you have got to check out Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. That was a good chuckle. There's a lot of fan service in there for diehards.
It's all fan service.
Oh my god, the whole movie is. But my God, Chris Jericho's part. ABC.
Oh, that was such a fun movie. I mean, we got to the end of it, and I laughed my ass off, and my wife was like, "It was all right." And I'm like, "That's okay."
That's better than what I got. Kristen turned and looked at me and goes, "That sucked." And you know what? That was the most serious I've ever contemplated divorce.
But you know what? She wasn't wrong. If you were not a fan, that movie did suck.
Agreed.
I mean, that might, lots of movies have been fan service, but that might be the most fan service movie I've ever seen in my life.
Everything ties back to something else. Everything. Well, maybe except for Hater Tots.
Yeah, and people probably say, "Oh, it was a horrible movie." I'm sure it got bad reviews. But if you look at the complexity of tying so many things back into other things, it takes a strategical genius to write that.
Or a huge stoner, one of the two.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, such a good movie, and also such a bad movie.
My only beef with that movie was Silent Bob and his iPhone. That annoyed me.
Why?
The fact that he communicated through the iPhone, it just annoyed me. I don't know. I didn't like that. But
hasn't all of those movies have moved up with technology? They have.
Without a doubt.
And that seems like a natural progression to me.
Which it makes sense for a character that doesn't speak to you. Yes.
Yeah.
And we're not ruining really anything for you, Corbs, on this. That's prevalent through the whole movie. We're not giving away big things like, you know.
All right. So my question is where the hell do I fucking find it?
I mean, you can just borrow it from me, first of all. Because
Okay.
come on, act like I don't own every fucking Kevin Smith movie.
That's true. Good point.
Twice. At least twice.
Almost. The newer ones I don't. I do want a second copy of Mallrats because my copy of Mallrats is the one that everyone's autographed. So I kind of don't want to touch that one anymore.
Understandable.
Yeah. That's the one that I have Kevin Smith's autograph on. I wanted Clerks, but that's not the one that you bought me. So.
All right.
Moving on.
Yes.
Anything? Again with the crickets.
Well, with tits? I heard tits.
No. Get your mind off the tits.
That hasn't happened in like 25 years.
No, okay.
Why stop now?
You guys want to hop to the book club?
Yes.
Let's do that. Dr. Yu, what have you been reading?
Well, I just finished reading Marvel Zombies Resurrection 1 through 4. I waited until they were all out and before I sat down and actually read the entire thing. And I was excited when this was first announced. I mean, Marvel Zombies is one of my favorite comic book series. And this was a little different. They have, I mean, just the concept of Marvel Zombies establishes Elseworlds type things in the Marvel universe. There's
the multiverse, yes, definitely.
So this happens in a completely different multiverse than we've ever seen in the Marvel Zombies books. So, you know, like Peter Parker isn't infected, you know, and it's, I don't want to say it's bad. I think if you're a Marvel Zombies fan, you should read it. If you're a fan of obscure characters, you should read it because they pull a lot of shit out of the past that even tested my ability. There were a few times I had to Google search some shit to make sure I knew where things were going. And it's a good story. The thing that bothers me is if they really want to use this as a property, okay, DC has done the right thing with their Deceased line. They have done multiple series that all happen in the same world. And it seemed like they had no stories after the first one, but they proved us wrong like 4 times now. And it's continued to be really compelling and really good. Marvel's not done that. They are jumping around in different universes, and I was worried that because I knew that from the start this was in a different universe, and I thought they were going to tell the same story over again from a different perspective, or different heroes get infected or whatever. And while that is definitely true, it wasn't the same story. It was a completely different story. Pulls into some fantastic lore that I didn't know, and it was actually very interesting. I got to the end of it. I read the fourth issue today, and what I want from them is to, hey, this is a great idea. Let's get some of your good minds together, and let's create a monthly or at least a cohesive universe for all of this. Because the idea of Marvel Zombies, I mean, it's the first. Deceased is great, but Marvel Zombies was the first. Some of the stuff that happened, I mean, Marvel Zombies was written by Robert Kirkman. The original one was written by the guy that gave us The Walking Dead. He knows his fucking zombies.
Right.
And that first series is haunting. I can still sometimes see some of those images in my head. I mean, they're so compelling. They could really do some great stuff with this property, but it needs to be less scattershot. I mean, I think they need to start it over, first of all.
Right. Reboot.
And they need to reboot, and they need to start it over with an idea of, we're going to make this comic book for the next 5 years, and here's where we're going to go. And I think it'll be a great seller for them. Obviously, it's a good seller because every couple years they do a 4-issue miniseries, and they wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't selling well for them. You really want to make money, make it something people can't wait to see the next issue of.
Right. And apparently it's a huge thing because, I mean, even at Walmart now, you can get little Marvel Zombies statuettes.
Yeah.
That are in the Christmas section, like for the little gift ideas for kids.
It's a great concept. The idea of our greatest heroes being corrupted in a way we haven't seen before. And Marvel had the best idea that when they're hungry, they're crazy. When they're fed, they can stop and think about it, and some of them can even feel remorse or just fall to pieces because they are so remorseful for what they've done. It's torture for them as well, and that didn't come into play so much in this particular miniseries. It did point at future possibilities. I mean, it seemed like it was setting up another series, but again, it's going to be another series, in this universe, and then the next one they do will probably be in a completely different universe. I think if they really made things cohesive and slow, because that's part of the problem. The original Marvel Zombies, it all happened so fast because they're superheroes. That's why they got infected so quickly. I think if you do it slowly, you could really draw out the drama. Deceased has the same problem because you had the Flash getting infected and he's running around biting people. It all happens too fast. It's like you're in the shit right in issue 1. You need to be in the shit in issue 1, but not that shit. You're in the desperate, oh God, there's no way out of this shit right from the get-go, and then you have to build your way up. Let's start. God damn it, this stupid background. Let's start up here. Let's let it play out like the Walking Dead comic book did. Let it get dire before you bring it back up. I think that they wanted a quick miniseries, a quick sell, and I think that this could be an effective story over a long term if they really want to put it on. I mean, they haven't stopped making Marvel Zombie comics, so why not go for it?
Right. Tie it together. Give it like a good story to go with. I mean, I'm not saying that the stories they've done are bad, but like you said, put everything together, make it mean something.
Well, this is how piecemeal this shit is, okay? I mean, amazing creators in every single step of the way, but I have the actual original run, not just the first 4 books, but all the original stuff up until probably this one. I have the original books. And if I was to read them in order, I have to take Dynamite's Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies and slot that in somewhere. That's something that came 3 or 4 miniseries later that fills in some shit that happens with Spider-Man in the very first, before the first book. Or during the first book. Yeah. And it's all really good. It's excellent. And you have to read them out of order for it all to make sense. But that just shows me that they're like, oh, let's make a new one. Okay, let's fill in some blanks here. Okay, we're going to make a new one. Let's fill in some more blanks here. If they actually put their minds to it and dedicated some time to it, it would be fucking amazing. It would be something they'd never reboot because they'd never be able to do it properly again.
Right. Interesting. And I've never read one issue of any of this.
I have
Me
it.
either.
Well, I'm not surprised that you haven't.
No. Come to my house. I'll pull it out of the basement for you.
Outstanding. We'll have to do that. Right after he watches Supernatural.
Exactly.
Oh, come on. Reading Marvel Zombies is not as challenging as watching Supernatural.
I know, it's tough to just turn on an episode.
Seriously. So
yeah,
hard.
but you actually like comic books, so.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was talking about him reading it.
I know.
Okay. So I want to talk about Star Wars Dark Disciple. It's a novel. I actually read a novel.
No, you didn't.
I did. I've
Shut
actually
up.
been reading a lot of books.
You fucking liar. You did not.
I
Was it,
did.
was it a picture book?
No, I mean there's the cover, but are you familiar with this one, Hugh?
No.
It takes place during Clone Wars. It was actually meant to be a story arc on the animated series that got cut for whatever reason. It was originally written by Katie Lucas, George's daughter. She was staff writer for a while on the show.
Nepotism.
Yeah, exactly. Nepotism. But she did a damn good job with this, I'll tell you. Takes place midpoint during Clone Wars with all the shit going on. It centers around Quinlan Vos. He's a Jedi with a special ability where he can basically, when he touches things, he can sense the important things that have happened around it.
Okay.
And the Jedi Council decides that Count Dooku needs to be dealt with, and they're finally ready to assassinate him. And so they decide to send him in because his specialty is undercover ops. They're going to send him in to get close to Dooku and assassinate him. And their best way to go about this is to have him partner up with Asajj Ventress. Is this a character you're familiar with? Have you watched Clone Wars?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my. Okay, Clone Wars takes place between episode 2 and episode 3 of the movies.
Now, we talked about this, and I said, hey, how do you watch it? And you said, well, you need to download this thing because the series isn't in order. So,
Yeah, it's StarWars.com, and it's
so
fucking
I'm not
weird.
saying I'm not going to do it, but I haven't done it since last week, okay?
Since there's some homework involved,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
Look, I didn't do homework when I was in school. Don't expect me to do homework now.
Okay, that's fair. And so as this is going on, feelings develop between Ventress and Vos, and it ends up becoming that Vos gets captured and turned to the dark side, and Ventress basically goes through hell to get him back, only to realize that he's still under Dooku's thrall. And it's heartbreaking. It's phenomenal. I couldn't put the book down. It was the quickest book I've ever read because I couldn't put it down. It was so good. So freaking good. If you get a chance, go out and find it. Like I said, it's Star Wars Dark Disciple, written by Katie Lucas and Christy Golden. You can find it on Kindle. It's still in print in bookstores. You can find it on Audible. It's phenomenal. I don't want to give too much away because I don't want to ruin the story, but there's so much that happens in it. And at the end of the book, it's one of those where I just sat there like, holy fuck. Like,
Is it a series or is it just one book?
it was one book. Just one
Okay,
book.
I didn't know if it was because I know sometimes they've got some of them where it, like, continues on between episode 2 and 3, or
Mhm.
between Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace. They had a
Yes.
whole series of books or whatever. I just didn't know if it was something
Yeah,
like
no, this is a one and done because, like I said, it was originally supposed to be in a story arc during the animated series. So you see a lot of Obi-Wan and Anakin coming in and out of it because they're the main characters in the animated series,
that. Okay.
and they've got to keep coming back to them. But very, very well done. Very definite beginning, definite end with how everything goes. Phenomenal. Really cool shit happens in there. And Vos is kind of an unsung character that definitely deserves more of the spotlight than he got. back in the old canon, which they consider the Star Wars Legends now, there was a whole arc of Star Wars Republic about Quinlan Vos, and just phenomenal character. Very cool stuff. Check it out. Check out his old comic book stuff, even though it doesn't mesh with his canon appearances now, but good stuff.
Okay. It's break time, isn't it?
I think it is. And then we come back, we're gonna have a little discussion about Christmas, since we are booking this as our Christmas episode.
We should probably get to that.
All right.
Probably should.
All right. Okay. Stick with us, guys. We'll be back in about 5 minutes again. The 4th annual Sci-Fi Horror Fest returns in 2021 with an all-new location. This family-friendly event will have new celebrity guests, new activities and attractions, as well as a diverse selection of vendors, ranging from horror and sci-fi merchandise, artists and authors, tattoo artists, podcasts, as well as unique vendors like breweries and wineries. Sci-Fi Horror Fest will be held on August 27th and 28th at the Vernon Downs Casino and Hotel in Vernon, New York. Guest announcements will begin after the new year. For all up-to-date information, including tickets, vendor space, and sponsorship packages, go to www.sci-fi-horrorfest.com. Please note, dates of event are subject to change due to any lasting issues due to COVID-19.
And we're back.
Santa's in the hood.
Santa's in his hood.
Is that how it works?
Exactly.
But you know what? It's great because I'm not disappearing.
I totally didn't know if you would go with that, Corpse. I was so glad you did. I love you, man.
I just want to point out, I do have a beard down here. For whatever reason, it sits way the fuck down here. But
that looks like a bib. You have a bib.
It looks like it looks like a bib.
A couple more beers and we'll just... All right, I don't know how long the hood can stay on because it's driving me fucking crazy.
Right, we disappeared again. Should have disappeared too, so.
Oh, I am losing part of it. There we go. All right, so this is our Christmas episode. I'm Christmased up.
Sure.
Just want to get the full effect. Look at that.
Oh, it's Polly Claus. Look at that.
I've got the Santa belly and everything going. All right, we're losing the hat. At least that hat. I got to go back with the signature hat that I'm used to. That apparently tests well with the audience. Yes.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Some of the audience will understand what I'm talking about.
You tested all three of the audience, and they like your fucking hat.
I texted them. I'm like, the hat's cool, right? And
I mean, that's not enough people to be an accurate focus group.
But if it's the full audience, that's 100%. And the kids like it. There. Does that count?
You got me there.
All right. So Christmas stuff. And like you said, you track
does he not look like Fred Durst trying to do some Christmas?
You're right. Yes. This looks like it should be the Christmas video for Break
I did
Stuff
it all for
something.
the Christmas cookies. The Christmas cookies.
You're not wrong. Hold on, the Fred Durst of Christmas.
Are you rolling?
I'm definitely rolling. How did that go?
Yeah, there you go.
Keep rolling.
God, that dude was such a fucking clown. Sorry. So yeah, like I said, I mean, we were all scrambling to try and come up with some Christmas things since I blurted out last week that this was gonna be our Christmas episode. And I came up with a couple things. Guys, what do you guys have either now or formerly as special Christmas traditions? Like things that you guys specifically do on Christmas? You look like you're contemplating, Dr. Hugh. Are you ready to go first? Will you stroke your Santa beard? Corbs. I like it. Let's make Corbs start.
I make Corbs start.
And let me guess.
Because I talk too goddamn much, so I try to give you the stage. I feel bad. For Christ's sake. Stop making me feel bad about feeling bad. Just fucking talk.
One, they watch Star Wars.
That's true. No. Well, the Christmas tradition that we have now is just we get together as a family because, my sister, we're all older. My sister's in her 40. My sister just turned 40 last year. My brother's 48. He's got his own family. So we tried to get together every year on Christmas Eve as opposed to Christmas Day. We used to get together when we were younger. My mom and dad divorced. My dad would come over Christmas morning. He'd be there before we got up in the morning. And we'd open gifts and have breakfast together and stuff like that. But this, for me, it's about family. I always, we were talking about it today when we were out, when I was shopping, me and my mom and my son and my sister. We all went out Christmas shopping and we were having dinner. And, what we were talking about, what we were going to do for dinner this week. Because we're doing our Christmas on Saturday this year. We're having the family over. And so we were talking about, well, what should we have for dinner?
This is a good topic. We're going to bring this around the table too.
So we were going back and forth, and even though my mom and dad have been divorced, 30 plus 40, maybe even 40 years now. They've been separated for about 40 years. I mean, I think I was 5 when my dad left, but he's always there for Christmas. My mom and dad get along great. They have their differences as past couples will. But he's always here. He's always with us. And this year with COVID, he's been very adamant about not going anywhere.
Very cautious.
Very cautious, and I would even say overly cautious. But
I'm letting you say that. I'm not saying that. I've seen your dad. He'll kick my ass.
But he's right. You have to be overly cautious at this day with everybody who's got health issues and the dumbasses that are out there that aren't going by, not wearing the masks, whatever they might be doing, having a party of 55 people or whatever it might be. So for me, it's
exactly.
It's about family. Like I said, we were talking tonight about what we were going to do for dinner when everybody came over. So we were talking about doing like a sandwich tray or a meat tray. And I just looked at my mom and I'm like, you know what? To me, it doesn't matter what we have. It doesn't matter the food. Tacos. To be honest with you, I would be okay with nothing. I just want my family to be together. It's so hard to keep family together these days. And it's not that you can't keep them together, but people move for work. My family has stayed local, which is nice. I have an aunt that lives in Virginia. She normally comes up for Christmas. This year with COVID, it's just not going to happen. Just because of the restrictions on getting here, she was going to fly. She was going to take the virus in a tube here. But to get here, she's got to get tested so she would fly from Roanoke to Philadelphia. She'd have to get tested in Philadelphia. When she lands in Syracuse, she'd have to get tested in Syracuse. And then going back, she's got to do it the same way. And if you test positive at any one of those locations,
you're fucked.
You got to quarantine there. And then you can't just rent a car and go back home. You got to stay there.
Right, because now the Department of Health is tracking you.
Right. So she's not coming up this year, which hurts because, again, I'd like to have my whole family here, and she's part of the family. So, and we joke about it all the time. When I was first with my ex, it was right after she got pregnant with my son. So 13 years ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, I feel old now.
Yeah. 13 years ago. Fuck me. We went to my father's.
18.
We went to my father's and his girlfriend, which is now his new wife. My father got married during COVID. So that is nice. So we went over to his house and he was cooking. And my father is a very good cook, but he was making stuff with alcohol in it. And being pregnant, you can't have alcohol. Now, when you cook it, it burns off, yada, yada, yada. We were just sitting around, and it wasn't done maliciously. and we joke about it to this day. You know, he was like, "Oh, I made this great meal. I made prime ribs, sweet potato, Jack Daniel's sweet potatoes." He made all this food for everybody, but he didn't get a chance to hang out with the family. So we were sitting on the table having dinner, and don't get me wrong, dinner was fantastic. Prime rib was cooked great. Sweet potatoes, I'm not a big fan of sweet potatoes. They weren't bad. But we jokingly said to him, we would have been fine with having pizza and wings, because it wasn't about the food. It was about
The time.
the family, about spending time with family. And that's what it's always, that's what we've decided we're going to try to do every year for Christmas. And this Christmas is going to be a lot harder for our family. Lost my nephew in April, and then my sister-in-law lost her mother just before Thanksgiving. So for us this year, it's more important to be with family than anything else. So that's a tradition that we have. And this year, I'm making sure that it's even more pronounced. We weren't going to do it at first. My mom had decided with COVID, we were not going to do anything.
Yep.
We were just going to have me, my son, my mom, and my sister. Just going to be the four of us. Sister was going to come over on Christmas. We're going to have, traditional ham for Christmas and whatever. Sit at the table on Tuesday night. My mom goes, "Well, we're having everybody over on next Saturday." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Like, what the hell just happened here?
What?
You can't change gears on me like that. This is what the plan was going on." But I told her, I said, if that's the case, I'm okay with it. I would rather have everybody together than have everybody apart during this time. So that's the big tradition that I want to instill in my son and my family, is just to be together, especially this year, more important than anything else. This year is the year that I think we really need to be together. So that's the big tradition that I have. And we did that even growing up. Like I said, my father would come over, we'd have breakfast in the morning, we'd open gifts. When my dad got hurt, when he had to retire from the police department, he was always at the house. When I got home from school, my father was there, and he was there from the time I got home until just after dinner. He stayed and had dinner with us. It just felt, it was natural. And he would leave, and it didn't matter that he was leaving. It was, I got home, my dad was there. He was there. He helped with schoolwork. And it was more like he was the babysitter. My mom was working full time, and she'd come home around 4:30, and then we'd have dinner together. And then, my dad would take off and go home, but he would be there the next day, and then, as we got older and I was training more with baseball, he was there every day with me training, hitting when it was in the middle of winter, I'd be in the garage with the batting cage net hanging up in the garage, hitting into the net, and he would be right there with me doing it. So I'm very big on family. So for me, for Christmas, always going to be family. So.
Hey, Corbs?
Yeah. Yes,
I don't mean this in any sort of mean way, but I have to tell you because, as a friend,
You're gay.
To be honest with you.
You would know.
I don't think he's gay. You would know, Paul. I wouldn't.
I mean,
Corbs,
how do you think I got through ITT? I mean, I'm sorry. Continue.
If your dad invited you over and he cooked through the entire thing and didn't spend any time with you,
right?
Because he doesn't like hanging out with you motherfuckers. Go from one cook to the son of another cook.
Right.
If we ignored you, there's a reason for it. I'm just saying.
Right.
Is that the same reason?
He may love you, but
is that the same reason why Daddy has to go downstairs and prep for the show? Just saying.
Wait, who has to go downstairs and prep for the show?
Daddy has to go downstairs and prep for the show.
Paul, is this a you thing? Because you've
Yes.
never said Daddy has to go down. Okay.
Yes.
I'm not following your joke. It's failing miserably, but probably the answer is yes. Okay.
Jesus Christ. That's what I tell my kids. Daddy has to go prep for the show. Daddy, it's Wednesday. I don't care.
It's Wednesday.
I'll see you on Saturday.
Dad, you just recorded last night. Why are you prepping again?
All right. And you're not wrong. Did you know that? Did you know I record on Tuesdays too?
I know
Yeah.
you do the other show.
The
Yeah, you
other
do your
show.
other-
Which, by the way, you know what? I went through all of Geek Pod's shows today to look for something I could call back for the Christmas episode. And you know what, Paul?
You went for a long ways, didn't you?
Yeah. And for that year that we didn't record anything, man, you certainly recorded an awful lot of This Week in Geek.
You know why? It takes 15 minutes.
I didn't know that. I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck is this? Just wait until that Joe show starts. I really want other people's voices on some shows. I swear to God.
You know what? That would be awesome when this show starts making us some money.
I mean,
That
any
would be
show
great.
making us money would be great.
Yeah,
Corey, we
something,
hear you clicking.
anything.
Just so you know.
That's all right. I'm just gambling over here. Leave me alone.
Perfect. Making some money for the show.
No, it's the fake money.
Dr. Hugh, what are some of your family traditions for Christmas?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, like I said, our family is different. I mentioned in the last segment how I don't have traditional in-laws, and I never have. I've been married twice, and everything's been fucked up every time. But what we do, are probably the only tradition we have, is on Christmas Eve, we go over to my mother-in-law's house, and she cooks a bunch of food, and we all sit down and eat, and we talk, and I get to see, because I think I've mentioned that my mother-in-law had 3 kids, my wife and 2 boys. Those 2 boys went out and had like a gajillion kids with a gajillion mothers, and it's ridiculous that I can't keep track of that shit. But the ones who aren't complete and total wastes of space show up to that event. Okay, and we have good conversations, and I go, man, I'm really proud of little Devin. Him and his girlfriend have been together for 3 years, and they're doing good. And I talk about stuff like that. I always walk away from that feeling good about them. There are people in the family that really could try. I'd like to say a lot harder, but even a little would be an improvement. But there are people that are being involved. So we go and we do that, and that's generally a heartening experience for me. And then we take a drive down. There's a place over in, I don't even know where the hell it is. Only my wife knows how to get there. But there's this big house that has all these decorations and all these lights. We look at that, and then we drive up in East Syracuse. They have the candles along the streets, and we drive up and down those streets. And we look at all the lights and all the candles and everything. And then we get home late enough for Avery to go to bed, and we get peace.
For a minute until you have to do the whole loading the tree.
Well, we're pretty smart about that. We usually have everything wrapped and ready. This year we have it in the downstairs closet, so it's going to be like 3 feet of passing presents instead of
even better.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, I mean that's our big holiday tradition. I mean, I wish I had something that reached back further, but my mother is kind of lost in space. There is nothing from either of our old pasts, I guess I should say,
that carries over.
Yeah, that carries over. It's all new traditions that we have come up with since we got together, and I don't think that's a bad thing.
Not at all.
We both feel the fact that it's almost, even though neither of us were orphans, we almost feel like orphans trying to build our own lives together. But that's because our families were so weird and so distant that there isn't anything to reach back to. Mm-hmm. And the things that we've built, I look forward to that every year. It's so much fun. I mean, even though my mother-in-law's cooking is hit or miss every year, we still have a good time. And well, apparently she was amazing. Tamara says she was an amazing cook, and then she says at some point she forgot how to cook. I don't know, but yeah, she was married to this deep Southern black man, and this woman literally had to cook 2 dinners every night. He apparently ate like 5 or 6 different things. So she was making chitlins and grease gravy for him, and then making Thai food for her kids. I mean,
wow.
she I mean, I don't want to say she was abused because he wasn't an abusive man, but he was a strange man. He was stuck in his ways, and he was an alcoholic for a very long time. And it was a wicked, challenging time for her to get through. And I mean, I love the woman. I mean, I hate to say this, and I don't think this possibly could get back to my mom, but her mother has been more of a mother to me than my mother has been in a very long time. And I feel blessed, even though I hate using that word, that I have a mother-in-law that I get. People say, "Oh, I love my mother-in-law." Well, when I say it, I actually mean it. I could do anything. If the zombie apocalypse happened, I would go to her apartment and bring her back here. I am not going to my mother's house, not just because it's 45 minutes away. Just because, she probably said, "Oh, hey, hello, you look like a zombie. Come on to my house," and fucking let it eat her because she's fucking stupid. At one point, she was the smartest woman I knew. I don't know what the fuck happened, but
this episode's taking a turn. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Christmas therapy. No, I don't. This is all shit I dealt with years ago. I'm not like actively angry about it anymore. There was a point where it did really bother me, but now, if my mom remembers me remembers to text on Christmas or my birthday or something, I'm happy. If she remembers to text on Father's Day, I'm like, woohoo! It's like I score a point for that year. It's hit or miss every single year. You never know. But Tamara's mother is always there.
Outstanding.
Yeah, she really is. Even though she's a neurotic, crazy pain in the ass.
But everybody's got their idiosyncrasies, right?
Well, yeah. Her thing is she worries about everybody, and she's worried about everything. She needs to turn off the news cycle. I think you probably know people who are like that.
We get a lot of that now.
Yeah, a few nights ago, she posted this big thing about, oh my God, thank God we can stop worrying about this shit. And my wife looked at me and she's like, hey, do you want to tell her that it's not really over yet? And I'm like, nope, I'm going to let her do her thing. Because it's like she's like so engaged, but doesn't actually research things. And it's funny because she actually knows what she's talking about most of the time. But as you know, we have to like fact check everything. And yes, we did get past the 14th, and we do have the whole, electors are locked in, but there's a lot of crazy shit going on right now. And okay, yes, constitutionally, no vice president has ever said, "Oh, I'm going to take this fake board of electors instead of the real electors from that state." But it's never happened.
Right.
We don't know that actually isn't going to happen. And what do we do if it does? I don't know. There's no laws for it. So yes, we're hoping that things are going to get calm on January 20th, but I don't think it's over yet.
Now that crazy pants in office.
No.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
And a happy new fucking year.
God, I hope so. I fucking hope so.
So Paul, tell me, what was it that you always wanted but never got for Christmas?
All right. So from the time I was a little kid, I always wanted the AT-AT from Star Wars, specifically from Empire Strikes Back.
Do you have one now?
No, I do not. Never received it. Never went out and bought myself one because that shit's expensive. And I get it now. I always wanted it as a kid. I had some really cool Star Wars shit growing up. I had the playsets from He-Man, from Star Wars, all sorts of stuff. Never had an AT-AT. Always wanted an AT-AT. So that one is for me the one, and it's still to this day, because there were other ones that I really wanted as a kid, and between that time through college, whatever, I acquired. Like, I always wanted the slave one because I always thought Boba Fett was cool. I got that in college. So I have to check that off the list. AT-AT never happened. What about you?
Abs.
There's that too.
I ask Santa for abs every year. Nothing happened.
It doesn't work that way. I'm just saying.
That's all I got, dude.
That's hilarious. I love it. Corbs.
I got nothing, man.
There was no gift as a kid that you wanted that you never got.
No.
You are one lucky motherfucker.
Yeah, you
Not that
are.
I can think of. I mean, when you said that, I kind of was going back over it, but you got to understand something. When I was growing up, I don't ask for a lot. Like my mom will ask me now, "What do you want for Christmas?" Nothing.
That's how I am now too. Like my mom berated me because
Yeah,
there's nothing
exactly.
I want this year.
Exactly. It's much the same. Well, I gotta get you something. I'm like, no, you don't.
Give me a
open
sandwich.
something. No, I don't have to open anything. I don't.
And some rye dip. That's an awesome gift.
Yes. All about that. And my mom's making that this year, which is perfect.
So for me, and like I said, I didn't ask for a lot. Like, I mean, growing up, for me, it was always asking about like getting sports stuff, like new cleats for baseball, new bat, the big bat of the year or whatever it was. I hate to say it, but my mom and dad being divorced, if we wanted something, they did the best they could to get it. It was pretty cool because, but again, like I mean, I wasn't asking for like a new computer or a PlayStation.
Well, shit, when we were kids, they didn't exist.
That's true. That's true. They didn't exist till we got into ITT. So I mean, like I said, I never asked for a lot. I never was like, well, I want, a new car, for Christmas or whatever, It was always, I always tried to be reasonable because I also understood the fact that my parents just didn't have the money. I mean, my dad was a cop. My mom worked as a secretary.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a lot. So
right.
That's why for me, always being with family was always key. It didn't matter that we were getting gifts. I joke about it now, but I mean, I can't even count on my hands the number of years I got socks and underwear for Christmas.
That's important. Now I kill for that shit.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I would always, we were joking about it the other day. We were getting socks and underwear. My brother went to college. First year in college, came home. My mom didn't get him socks and underwear for Christmas Day. Didn't get either one of us socks or underwear. My brother's like, "Where's the fucking socks and underwear?" All my socks and underwear.
Last year, I needed socks desperately, and I did not get them. And my wife thought that I would be disappointed in such a like. This year, I'm like, I need socks, I need underwear, I need deodorant.
Right.
I'm rationing my deodorant and my earplugs for sleeping until Christmas Day.
So I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I desperately wanted that I didn't get because I didn't ask for a lot. So
see, I didn't realize as a kid that I was poor. Like it never occurred to me. But
you never do, and it's the same. It's the same now. I mean, my mom was like, "Well, what do you want for Christmas?" I'm like, it's not about me anymore. I don't care what I get for Christmas. If you want to spend something on me, spend it on my kid. Get
Mom,
him stuff.
He wants an OnlyFans subscription.
Paul, I think that Corbs might be the best of us, and I am as shocked at that as you are.
I'm a little surprised. He should be wearing the Santa hoodie.
Yeah,
Is that how it works? Like whoever has the best answer the next year, they get to wear the Santa hoodie.
I think we should make that a thing.
I'm dropping it off next week, motherfucker.
Dude, I'll wear that shit for the next year.
The whole year.
Every time we record, I'll wear that shit.
So when we record in July at your house, he's showing up in the hoodie.
I don't think I won't. So, that's just me. I'm as you guys both know, I'm very laid back. Shit doesn't bother me. Shit doesn't bother me. People are always like, you don't get mad about anything. You know what? With the shit that's going on now in the world, nothing to get mad about.
That's very true.
Just let the shit roll off your back. I don't give a fuck.
Every time the shit rolls off Corb's back, an angel gets its wings.
A lot of motherfucking angels up there. Then.
Right.
So.
All right. Do we have anything else? Everybody's answered the questions?
We do, Paul.
What do you have for us?
We can't end the show yet. Look at your notes.
I am. What am I missing?
Your notes.
TV. No, he's
the look on his face.
We talked about this before we even started recording.
Jesus, yeah, and I wrote it down. I'm looking at the wrong notes. That's why.
The look on your face was priceless, dude.
I'm just.
It looked like your face was gonna blow up. You look like
I'm perusing the show notes that I wrote up, and I'm like, "There's nothing there." Like, literally, it's just my wisdom nugget.
Oh my God! All of the things that only I put on there. There's nothing else there. There couldn't possibly be anything else.
I looked at the wrong notes because I have a whole nother page full of notes that are disappearing from what we've talked about.
I wanted to bring up two things. Number one, I found the most amazing TV show today.
Really?
Now, you guys know Ridiculousness with Rob Dyrdek, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Everyone knows that. Yeah, it's fun. They started doing a show called Deliciousness.
Just started. This week was the first week it was on.
Well, that's funny because there's 10 episodes on DVR. Maybe it has, but there's.
Wait, okay, you're not wrong, Hugh. It did start this week, but they've been running 2 episodes a night.
Okay.
So that's why
I didn't know that. I mean, this happened literally before we started recording. And it's some girl who was from 90210.
She was also on Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, they make sure to tell you that on every episode. I still don't know who the hell she is. But here's the idea. It's the same thing as Ridiculousness, except it all has to do with food. And I've watched 1 episode so far, and I'm like, that's really entertaining. I go to my wife, I'm like, how are they going to keep this up? Like, they have to have videos that have to do with food. Now, right now, I'm saying, hey, watch this, because I watched 1 episode. It was ridiculously and entertaining. I do think Tiffany Amber Thiessen, she was fine in 90210. They could have found a better washed-up actress for this, I think. I mean, she's kind of just there with a little bit of cleavage. I mean, if you're gonna do that, get Bella Thorne or some other washed-up actress with baggage, so it's sexy or something. This is oh yeah, I remember jacking off to her in 1993. But interesting. The other thing, Walker Texas Ranger Paul.
Yes.
Yes, I am a supernatural mark.
Okay.
So yes, I am going to watch the first episode of Walker. But you put it out on the Geek Pod feed hey, we are pushing this the best new show. And I'm okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Not that we all know I don't have anything against gay people or anything, but I mean that was the gayest thing you've ever done on our feed.
And I'm pretty sure I tagged you in it specifically.
Yeah, you did. I mean, it was this is. I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, this is what we're pushing? Out of all the things we could push, out of all the shit that came out of last week, we're pushing Walker Texas Ranger.
I had a good time with that.
Even I'm embarrassed by this.
But are you going to watch it?
I'm going to watch the show, but I'm not going to talk about it anywhere but here.
When does that start? Does it come? Is that next week?
I have no fucking idea.
All right,
next
we'll
month.
have to find out because
January 21st.
I think January 21st.
Yeah. Okay, maybe you need to change his Geek Pop background from pink to rainbow.
There you go. He was quick on the draw with that one. Just like fucking Chuck Norris and shit.
Nice. Way to tie it all in. Speaking of Chuck Norris, I watched Delta Force. I was watching Delta Force today.
Hey, we're not doing another movie review, goddammit.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
Seriously, I have to pee. Let's go.
All right, so we're going to wrap this thing up then?
Yes, please.
All right, my wisdom nugget. Did you know that it's only appropriate to say, oh my God, look at you. You've gotten so big to children? Adults tend to get offended. Merry Christmas, everybody. And make it by me.
And a happy new year.
This has been a GeekPod Network production.